Funny and good looking. Two things I'm not. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not going to delay. I'm just going to bring up your next comedian. The man who put it all together tonight. My friend. Good friend. Very funny guy. The man with the best Schwarzenegger in the business. Yeah. Everybody welcome Ron Yavnieli.
Thank you, Dan. I think you're good looking. Come on. So you introduced me with Schwarzenegger, so I have to start with Schwarzenegger, don't I? Usually it's 3 or 4 jokes in, but it's alright, I'll start with it, because it's relevant right now. He's in the news. I was worried that he wouldn't be, when he left office. I was like, how can I keep Arnold relevant? But thankfully they heard my prayers and they answered them, and now he's got the illegitimate child with the maid. My thing is, how did he not know? How did Maria Shriver not get suspicious, right? How did she not get suspicious when the maid's baby bench pressed 1,000 pounds and shot laser beams out of his eyes? And his first words were, "I'll be back." How did she not know this? Yeah, but I loved Arnold when he was governor. I thought he did a fucking terrible job, but I voted for him because it was good for my career, I wish he would have run again, who does a Jerry Brown impression? Nobody, but I got one. You want to hear it? Yeah. Cool. I'm Jerry Brown, the new governor of California. Do as I say, I command you. Do it now, I will crush you. Get to the chopper. I am Jerry Brown. Legalize marijuana. Do it. Okay, thank you. Yeah, see, you like the impressions, good. Yeah, do you know James Earl Jones, the great James Earl Jones, voice of Darth Vader and Mufasa from The Lion King and CNN? He used to be a stand-up comic, which is just my clever way of saying, here's my impression of James Earl Jones as a black stand-up comic in the 1980s. Ready? White people be saying shit like, hey, give me some more mayonnaise in my tuna casserole. And brothers be all like, yo, I want me some more of that fried chicken and collard greens. And white people be walking like this. Look at me, I have a stick up my ass because I'm a white man. And brothers be doing it this way. Yo, I got soul, I'm super bad. And white people be punishing their children like this. Little Johnny, you go sit in the corner and think about what you did. And brothers be doing it this way. Simba, you deliberately disobeyed me. And what's worse, you put Nala in danger. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's what kind of trails off there. I guess I could have ended with, I am your father, but that would just be a little too hacky, I think. Speaking of hacky jokes, you guys are looking at me and you think James Earl Jones, no, see, I fucked up my own joke, damn it. I usually put that one right at the beginning. What I usually say is Vince Vaughn, Paul Rodriguez, and Tackleberry from Police Academy had a baby, right? Could be true, but none of those guys will return my phone calls. So I guess I'll never know. I get a bunch of them. I get told I look like people all the time. The one I get the most is Vince Vaughn, and I guess I should be happy about that, because he's like a handsome, Hollywood star, but I think about it, it's not really a compliment, because, back in the 90s when he was in Swingers, and he was thin, and he still had all his hair, and he looked, rested. Nobody told me I looked like Vince Vaughn. Only since really Wedding Crashers, since he started getting fat and going bald and drinking too much and looking like he hasn't slept or shaved or showered in a couple of days, have people told me that I look like Vince Vaughn. Yeah, great. Thanks a lot, lady. You look like Zsa Zsa Gabor now. Yeah, not so nice when someone says it to you. Even though you're a mic stand, you have no feelings, whatever. Okay, that was a little mean. I'll go back to the impressions, that's fine. The thing about the Arnold thing is, I had, luckily, a way to keep Arnold relevant, other than just getting up here and talking like this. But other impressions, it's tough. There are certain impressions that every comic does. Like every comic does Jack Nicholson. Every comic does John Wayne. And how the hell do you keep a John Wayne impression relevant? He's been dead for 40 years. But I found a way. I had hernia surgery 2 years ago, and it was really painful. And when I was recovering from the surgery, the doctor told me that I got to get up every hour and just walk down my own hall, which is harder than it sounds because, you know, just got operated on down there and it hurts. But when you do it, like you kind of go slow and you got your hands on your hips, like one on each, like you're holding a couple of gun holsters, you know, and you're dragging your legs along with your hips like this, like, ow, and you're moaning and groaning in pain, and pretty soon you turned into John Wayne there, Pilgrim. Okay, so only the front row's 35 and older, is that it? The rest of you guys never heard of John Wayne? He was in the original True Grit. Check it out on Netflix, Pilgrim. He wasn't so tough after all. He just had a hernia. He was probably out practice walking one day when the studio executive spotted him and said, "Hey kid, keep walking and talking like that, we'll make you a star." He was like, "But I don't really talk like that. It isn't just because I'm in pain." They're like, "Nah, forget it." Anyway, I'm still working that one out. So you may notice I have a lot of non sequiturs here. That's because I recently found out. I'm going to tell you more about my medical problems. I could tell the hernia thing made you uncomfortable, but damn it, I'm going to tell you more. I recently found out that I have ADD. Yeah, attention deficit disorder. Finally. They never knew what was wrong with me. I heard someone applaud. You can applaud for ADD, it's cool. We're all friends here. They never knew what was wrong with me. They thought like I was maybe retarded or autistic or just lazy. Like no one ever really knew like why I didn't get good grades or get, you know, good jobs. It was just ADD. Yeah. What was I talking about? Pancakes? Man, they're delicious, aren't they? With syrup and butter? Yeah, I love pancakes. Yeah, so ADD. But yeah, you know, apparently my mom knew about it when I was a kid. The doctor told her that I had ADD, but she didn't want to put me on Ritalin because it's an amphetamine, and she didn't want her 6-year-old son on amphetamines, and that's a respectable decision. I'm glad she didn't, but I'm on them now. Yeah, and so far there are no negative side effects, except that I'm losing weight without diet or exercise. How awesome is that? I was 300 pounds when I woke up this morning. This shirt never fit me. Now it does. I'm able to close my belt all the way thanks to Adderall. Yeah, it's a miracle drug. I can do my taxes, and I'm skinny. Awesome. Everyone should be on it. What was I talking about again? Oh yeah, waffles. No, waffles, right? Yeah. You know in Canada they call them wallops? Okay, that's not true, but doesn't it sound like it could be? Like, can't you picture a Canadian guy say, "Yeah, give me more maple syrup on my wallops because I'm from Canada. They're delicious like that." Right? Cool. I just gave Eric a call back for later, so cool. So we're all animation people here tonight, right? Cool. Yeah, all right, some of you. I am too. You guys ever heard of the show SpongeBob SquarePants? I heard of that show too. I've written them many letters asking them to hire me, but so far they haven't. They're like, "No, we don't like people with ADD, get out of here." But, no, but like I've worked on a lot of projects that you've probably never heard of because they never went anywhere, but you know, anyone in Hollywood, any creative person always gets approached by this guy. "Hey man, I got the best idea for a cartoon. It's about singing turds in a boy band, and they're all lesbians, and they live in outer space, and they're in a boy band. Did I mention that? Yeah, and all you got to do is do all the work for free. Forget a contract. You don't need a contract, man. You'll be better off without one. Do all the work for free, because I know a guy who knows a guy whose sister's brother-in-law got waited on by a guy who knows someone who works at Cartoon Network. So, like, we're in. I just make one phone call, and we'll go and we'll pitch it, and I'll keep all the money, but I'll give you some someday. How do you like that idea, man? It's great. It's gold. You're throwing away a great opportunity. Why are you turning around? Where are you going?" Every day I get that. And then when I walk down the street, someone stops me and tells me I look like Vince Vaughn. So, you know, it's kind of an everyday thing for me, but, you know, that's Hollywood for you. But yeah, I do, you know, every once in a while get like a good animation gig, and it's fun, work with a lot of really cool people. And for some reason I noticed that at every animation job I've ever had, there's two big pluralities of people. Those are Mormons and Koreans. I don't know why. I can only guess. In the case of the Mormons, it's probably because of their strict religious upbringing. Like, the only entertainment allowed in their homes growing up were Disney movies. So they all became animators. And that theory holds water because they all kind of talk like Jiminy Cricket, you know? Like, well, golly, I tell you, you know, if you don't accept Joseph Smith as a true prophet and put on the magic underwear, you'll burn in hell. And you'll burn fast because you're made of wood, Pinocchio, yeah. Okay, so again, only the front row is non-Mormon here? What are you guys all like polygamists, or what's going on? Relax, we're all friends here, it's cool. If there were Mormons in the room, they'd be laughing the hardest. That's what people don't get about ethnic jokes or religious jokes. It's like, if you make fun of a group of people, they like it, because people just want to be included. They're like, yeah, do us now, you know? So, speaking of that, I also mentioned the Koreans. I don't know what their deal is, they're just good at animation. It's in their blood. I guess the ones who aren't good at math do animation, right? But, similar thing with my people, I'm a Jew, but I'm a comic too, so you probably weren't surprised by that, right? Yeah, you know, a lot of Koreans in animation, I don't know why, but, you know, I sometimes think maybe they're not happy. Because whenever they talk, no matter what they say, they always sound disappointed. Like, I hear them speak in their own language. It sounds like, "부탁합니다. 저만해요." 문자 제가 감사합니다. 한국 여보세요. 거짓말하세요. So I had to find out, is that just how they talk, or are they always telling each other bad news? Which one is it? So I went over to the next cubicle and I said, "Yo," not like a hip hop thing. That was this girl's name. And I said, "Yo, what's up with all the moaning?" And she's like, explained it has to do with how far away someone is standing. So like when you talk to your relatives in Korea, do you like go, "Oh," just make sure it reached them? I don't know. But no, like I was able to decipher a couple on my own. The main one is this, which is "oh," which sounds like "oh dear, that's terrible." Then this one, slight variation, which is "oh," which is like, I know something, but I better not tell you, it'll piss you off. Then finally this one, I've only ever heard the girls do this, never the guys, just the Korean girls, which is "Aya," which kind of sounds like, I know, you already told me like 1,000 times. Get off this joke, no one's laughing anymore. You should have stopped when you said "yo." I can't finish on that though. Let me tell you a little about myself. My last name is Yavnieli. A lot of people think I'm Italian because it ends in Eli and I have a lot of chest hair. But it's actually an Israeli name. My dad's from Israel. Yeah, and Israelis are different. They're not like the typical American Jew, neurotic and like, oh my God, everything's terrible. They're not like that. They're like, hey, you throw a rock at me, I bulldoze your house and build fence around you. How you like that, huh? Go cry to the UN, see if I care, I laugh at you. And my dad was no exception. He was a really tough guy. He'd wake me up every morning when I was a kid like, Ronnie, get up. I don't want to fight with you. Look at you, lazy, you're fat. You don't want to get the garbage out. You don't want to walk the dog. And the dog piss and shit all over the house. When I was your age on kibbutz, I had to wake up every morning to harvest the falafel. While the Arabs attack us and the locusts swarm overhead. And you had no weapons, so I had to train the chickens to lay grenades instead of eggs. And we threw those at the terrorists and threw them at the locusts, and you don't want to go to school. Dad, it's Saturday, I don't care. In Israel, we go to school every day, 9 days a week. There's only 7 days in a week, Dad. Not in Israel, we have 9, now get up. And how can I argue with that? I really couldn't. But my dad's a good guy, I kid because I love. He's lived in America for a long time, since before I was born. And yet, there's only so much room in his head for English. Like when he can't think of the word for something, he won't necessarily switch over to the Hebrew word, or even mispronounce the English word. He'll just make a word up. Doesn't exist in any language. Like I say, Ronnie, give me the kapuchki. The what? The kapichko, right there in front of you. What are you saying? The chamkulo, right there. You mean the spoon? Yeah, the zambula. No, Dad, it's called a spoon. How long have you lived here? Over 30 years, since before you were born, and you don't know the word spoon. Yeah, kapuchki, no, spoon. But it's not only the word for spoon, it's an all-purpose word. It's a noun, it's a verb, it's even a sentence fragment sometimes. So like my dad will say, Ronnie, come on, it's time to kapuchki. Which could mean anything. It's time to clean my room, it's time to go to the store, it's time to invade Lebanon. We've done all three when he said Kapuchki, sometimes all at once. And on that note, I got a Kapuchki now, so thank you guys, you've been great. Good night.
Let him hear, folks. He put this whole show together.